getting married is beautiful. If anything, it's more appealing to people.
Want to do,
but if you point him in the right direction,
it's dangerous. Bro.
He gonna run.
He's dangerous. Yeah.
You gotta date down, right? You can't go searching for a doctor if you work at Costco.
Then I'm gonna put Sharon on blast. Okay.
Okay.
She be like, man up one time. I was like,
the man up.
Man up.
Man up.
I don't think these like 100, 200,000 earning women, 6-figure earning women
are happy.
Okay, so this is what they say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the quickest path to becoming a high value man. And I obviously want to be a high value man. I mean, everyone wants to be some form of a high value person, right? Because I think value is what people should bring to the world, right? Mm-hmm. So the first things, again, this is the path, right? So it's like you're not there yet. You're trying to get there. Okay. Don't get married.
No. Marriage, bro, is like. See, the thing, I know where you're coming from, but these people that are saying that you shouldn't get married are the same people who are like prudes, right? They're like the prudes, the type of dudes. If me and you feel me? We have a different type of vibe. I want to get married.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think getting married stops your value. I don't think it declines your value. Like, unless you get a divorce and she takes your money. But I'm saying, like, getting married is beautiful. If anything, it's more appealing to people when you're a married man. Come on now. Let's be real.
So, but all these young cats right now are really focused on not getting married, right? And they see it as like a hindrance, right? Let's be honest, right? Oh shoot, I think he's trying to take control.
Right.
Said, look, it's time. We own you. One of the things I find really curious about is the social standard. Remember I was telling you earlier, like, social media is such a weird animal we live in right now. One of the people you look up to the most, from what I've heard your story, is your father, you know?
Facts.
And so my curious question for you is that, like, how do you feel like a father figure's role is married versus not married?
Well, I mean, the thing is, marriage is a different beast in itself. Like, you can't say just because you're married.
I don't know if you could touch the AC too, Sarah. Okay. I don't know if you have a chance to do that as well. Sorry, continue. Marriage and not married?
Marriage is a different beast in itself. If you're married with kids, it just means, to me, like, if we're like being psychological about it, if you're married with kids, it just means you're a little bit more sure about your commitment, right? With kids, married, you have to show a different type of discipline, show a different type of understanding of the woman's emotions and your kids' emotions. When you leave the marriage out the system, now you're saying you have a baby mother, and you have a kid, you can kind of mess around with that, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, a father that is just around his kids with the baby mother, like, how would I, like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm trying to say, like,
it's just,
it's a little less of like a gravitas. Like, you're, okay, I have a kid, sure. When you're married with the kid, it's like, the kid is, especially growing up now with social media, when you're married, you're like, okay, the kid is a little more prone to see stuff, like, on the internet, like, okay.
Who's raising a kid?
Right. No, like a nuclear family. Like, they see stuff on the internet, like, about nuclear families and how good they are. And then a kid will see stuff like, oh, his dad is messing around. He just has a baby mother. This is just another woman for his dad. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel
his or her dad. So I feel like it shouldn't change who you are, because my dad and my mom didn't get married. And my dad was still a good dad. But on the other hand, you know, it might mess up how your wife or your woman feels. Like, she's like, okay, I want to get married. It can make y'all break up, but I don't think it changes who the dad should be. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel you. I think that's why I have both my parents were together, right? Until a certain point, right? My parents ended up getting divorced. But one of the things I think was big for me was, like, that my dad was very stern, right? Very, 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 very stern. And that was really helpful, right? Because at the time, obviously, as a kid, you're always thinking, like, man, why is he so hard? Right. But now I've heard a little bit of his story, the life that he's gone through. And I'm excited to share the world with what his life looks like. He wants to hop on the show. Shout outs to Pops.
Right.
It definitely does changes things. It changes the way you look at things. It changes the way you see things. And so I've always wanted to, I aspire to be like him in a way. I want to be, but I think every father wants someone to be better than them. And I don't know any father who's like, I want my son not to get married. Like, I just don't see that. Like,
Facts.
I feel like that's always what you want. You want your if like you want your son to find someone
And have a
love.
freaking family.
Yeah,
That's what my dad always preached to me. Family. You want to get married and have a family. It's just unfortunate it didn't work out for him like that.
Sure,
You know what I'm saying?
sure. But that, I think, if I asked my dad, I think that would be a high value man. Someone who at one point gets married. Now, on the path to get there, I mean, sure, I can see like, hey, you don't want to get married, but I don't think that is what's stopping someone to be high value. I think it's just the poor decision making.
But I think that if you think about it, like if you try to understand what someone else is saying, if you say on the path to become a high value man, maybe being married might not be the best decision, simply because you have to think, like, be honest, when you're married to someone, that's a whole nother commitment.
Fair.
You have to give them part of yourself. You have to give them time. You have to give them attention. And I think I know where people sit the high value man. They want you to be 6-figure earner, and have a good physique. Like you said, you start working out. You want to have a good physique. You want to have a good demeanor. It's not always easy to live two lives, meaning, you join together with one person and try to achieve your goals.
Right.
Which is true.
Right.
But on the other hand, there are people who can do it. Most of the time, successful men have a great woman behind them.
Right.
But that's not the majority.
Right. That's not the norm. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. The next thing it has on here.
Really quick pause. We
back at it again, with the black and white dunks and the sketches, fam. Listen, we out here. It needs to schedule with the arch, okay? Because your boy's back needs the support, okay? I mean, I need all the help it can get. Yeah. So we were talking about the high value man, and one of the things I was gonna bring up right next was specifically about the avoid family creation. Do you feel like avoiding family creation is what's needed on the path to high value for a man?
Well, yeah. I mean, like we said, it just depends on what your definition of a high value man. Most of the people who make the definition for a high value man is someone who sees a highly successful, like I said, in shape, just, he's super disciplined. And like I said, it's going to be hard for anyone to try to achieve a certain level of success when you have to take in account for other people, whether it be a wife, whether it be kids. But, it's like, what do you want to chase? You know what I'm saying? If you say you want to be a high value man,
sure,
you have to dedicate yourself to your crafts. That's what most high value men do, right? They don't party a lot unless that's the area where they want to be in, they don't.
You're our key here. I think one of the questions then to start, right? And I'm curious on what your definition is here. What is, let's break it down, right? Value.
Value.
Because that's where it really comes down to, right? Where do you feel like men are most valuable?
That's a good question. It really, okay, so lately I've been thinking that your value is really based upon your belief system. Not just religious. I mean, like how you view the world. For me, my value would be if I can successfully raise a family to, be able to function in the world without them having deficiencies in any area. For other people, it might be if I can be there monetarily for my family, where there's no emotional connection, but hey, I'm the breadwinner, and here's your money for school, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, for me, I believe whenever I get a family and I'm able to take care of them without them having any problems, and I'm there for them emotionally, et cetera, that's where I would place my value at.
So I'm going to press you here.
Okay.
Are you cool with that? All right. So my specific question is, what is the value of a man? Like, not so much what a value, what I think, like what for me or for like, someone else, what it could be, but like, what is definitive, like, this is what men bring value to. And again, I think in general, right? to the world, to work, to friends, to family? What is a general thing that men provide in terms of value that other races, sexes, whatever, cannot? I mean, shouldn't say races, right?
Yeah.
It's like other, like,
Just women are
species,
not
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, in this world, to be honest, value is based upon your bank account, social status, and, if you're good in bed. These are things that people talk about. They want you to have good money. They want you to be popular. They want you to give good pipe. And there's your value. But let me ask you this question.
Okay.
As a man, you know what I'm saying?
All right. That's
As
fair.
a man,
Sure.
do you feel like chasing these things would make you feel sufficient?
No. So I don't feel more sufficient on. Well, I'm gonna say yes and no. I think that you can be sufficient with having good pipe, looking good, having good financials, right? All those things are like really valuable. But that's in the more of like instant gratification, not the long-term value gratification. Because the reality is that everything has a peak, everything tops off, right? Right? A man could be happy with just one woman, straight up.
Facts.
A man could be just happy with just one woman, right? But once you realize you have options, right? Right? Once you open your mind up to that, then now you really want to, like,
Explore.
And now you want to explore. But at a certain point of exploring,
You're going to get bored.
you're going to get like, man, I just want to find that one woman.
Yeah,
right?
but that's the thing. We're talking about getting into that search to become a high value man. You're in the process, right? So the thing is, if we look at the people out there today that call themselves high value men, they also have their backdraft ideologies, right?
Sure.
Me and you consume social media content, so
That's fair.
we only can know what they show us.
That's fair.
If you don't have a conversation with a lot of these dudes, you won't really see where their head is. So, like, one person that I like to watch,
Okay.
who's a high value man, his name is Mediocre Tutorial and Reviews. I don't know if you know him. His name is The Real MTR on YouTube.
Okay.
So, if at face value, all he does is get your money, go work out, go sleep with girls, go do this. This is all we see. But we don't see the backdraft of that. Like, how do we not know he doesn't want a family? How do we not know he doesn't want to get married?
Sure.
And a lot of times people play the trend. People play the wave. They're going to tell you the things that you want to hear because that's what everybody's saying. So can you feel sufficient with just money, hoes, and
Status,
fitness
bro.
and
Sure.
status? No. Like, let's be real. It's like you said, there comes a point when there's going to be a peak. Yes, I have all this money. Yes, I have all these girls. But what does it do for you? Unless you're just like a high chaser, and high, I mean,
Sure.
in these things, because
Sure.
they're, like you said, instant gratification.
Right.
You're not really going to get what you need out of life. You know what I'm
You
saying?
didn't get the full substance of it all.
Right.
And I agree with you here. I think that the man in the world, if I had to answer that question, like, what do men bring in terms of value of the world? Well, I think men are special, and I hate to say this, but we talked about getting canceled today, so let's do it. I think men. There's something that men do in terms of the raising of a child that is very different from what a woman can do.
Facts.
I'm not saying that a woman can't do it, because there's a lot of women who are having to pull that weight and do it. And their sons are growing up. Obviously, a lot of them are violent, not to the fact that the woman is just like, yo, when you're the only mom and you gotta work to put food on the table, and you're hoping that the world raises your son correctly, right? Because that's really all it is. A man left to his own devices is not going to be a good dude, right?
Facts.
But a man with like a lot of a plan and a guide and like has guardrails and is dangerous, because a man just wants to run,
Right.
Wants to just be able to just, what do I want to do?
But if you point him in the right direction,
It's dangerous, bro.
he gonna run.
He's dangerous.
He gonna run.
Yeah, he's gonna go and make it happen.
Right.
So I kind of feel like that's what a man can do. A man can I think, and I don't want this to come out, but men could put fear in other men. And fear is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's like that discipline that's needed, the guidance that's needed, the like when you can sit down with a guy and just tell him like, hey, no, hold up, little man.
Facts.
This is the road I'll tell you the future, right? God is essentially that same token, right? Instilling that God in you, like the fear of God, and the rest of my dad used to say,
No, my dad was that type too. My uncle is like that right now, and I'm 22 years old, bro. Yeah, it's no joke. You need a man in your life to direct your ways.
Sure.
Because it's crazy. It's like before you even make that step out of line, you're thinking about that figure that's there.
Sure.
But when you leave a man to his own devices, what he's gonna do? He's gonna crash out.
Yeah.
And a lot of dudes crash out
because every man wants peace, right? Fact. And I think that's kind of the search, right? Because there's a lot of chaos going on around you. I mean, you're talking about like even the caveman days, right? Fuck, I need food. I'm cold. Like this chaos is in mind. Your mind is fighting against you, and you'll demolish anything, break anything, to kill anything to get you some food, right? Yeah. Right? And I feel like right now a lot of men are in kind of that same turmoil, right? You have this sense of feeling of like self-worth. That's what like a lot of big thing right now, right? What value can I provide in this world, right? Yep. Where like the education of women is taken over. Like no shade. I love the women get out there getting more educated, but they're out earning men, and it's awesome. And it's not a terrible thing, but like when you have these women who are out earning men, and you're like a man, and you have to figure out like, fuck,
what the hell am I gonna do?
Yeah, my wife, right? Right now, if we took traditional jobs, she would get a job that would earn more than I would, right?
That's cool.
And that's cool. Do your thing, right? But I, as a man, have to be understanding like the world has changed now. It's not the same old traditional,
that's the
thing that
we're looking for. That's the thing where it comes in, and it's like
conservative way.
If you want to get a wife, you gotta play the hypergamy game. You gotta date down, right? You can't go searching for a doctor if you work at Costco. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. And like you said, we need some dudes that's gonna shift you into the right direction. When you raised by a woman, like you said, no shade to the woman, it's a lot of emotion. So a lot of dudes lead with their emotions when they're raised under an emotional woman. So if you only raised by a woman, you gotta think. You don't see that, you don't see that stoic figure that's like, when it's tough, I'm in here with it. I'm not out here with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think it's the only. Actually, this might be the only time I disagree with you. The only reason I disagree here is that I think men show emotion a lot, especially through anger. Anger is an emotion, Facts. And traditionally men are really angry about the world, of future or whatever. Now you may be stoic about it, but there's still anger. Like it may be in your head, you may not be actually lashing out.
But that's where it comes in, where you have to learn how to control and use your anger in a positive manner.
Sure.
But like you said, it's not a lot of dudes that know how to correctly do that.
But the reason I bring that up is that, and I agree with you, the reason I bring it up is because I think men are emotional too. I think men are just as emotional as women, just maybe in different ways, Sarah knows I'm emotional as fuck. So,
I'm an emotional person too. I cry at movies, bro. So
hey, listen.
But what I'm saying is, as a man, you have to learn how to.
I think both, right,
dude? Because there's
both women and men both have to control it though, in a way, right?
Yeah, but there's like you said, like, what's your value? Like, there's a certain thing to a man where it's like, if you are over emotional, if you are over expressive, if you are over out, a lot of women don't gravitate towards those type of men.
Ooh, I see. Now we're talking about spectrums here, right? Yeah. Because I remember Sarah used to tell me something. I'm gonna put Sarah on blast, okay?
Okay.
She be like, man up one time. I was like,
the man up.
Man up.
Man up.
Oh shit! You just said that? Oh, I was hurt. I was like, God damn.
Oh, if your girl tells you to man up, that's a stab.
That's a stab.
That's a stab.
I was like, damn. All right, say less then, right?
Facts.
Yeah. So, but that was a big moment in our relationship, right?
Okay.
Because there is times where you can kind of get into your emotions and you get into your feelings, and there's a sense of girls who just don't want that, but I have the flip side to that.
What's the flip side?
When I first started dating Sarah, we would talk on the phone, right? And all I would do is just be like, hypothetically, right? If I'm there, right? Just dream, right? Like, like to all emotions, just all, no, like we're over the phone. I'm in Boston. She's out in Cali. And we're just talking shop, talking about like if you had a kid, right? And your kid was blind, how would you explain the color blue? Like,
oh, that's fire.
But you see, that's just pure love and emotion, just talking about chop.
But that's like, Sarah, that's game. That's not emotion. That's game, bro.
No.
Bro, have you ever?
That's emotion, bro.
That's game. When you said that to me, I'm like, damn, dude.
That's sauce, right?
Yes,
yeah,
that's sauce.
But hey, look, that's not the point. But the point is, it's like, Sarah's looking at me like, what the fuck is this? It's just like, yo, listen, hold up, okay?
Hey, that's fire.
You gotta do what works,
that,
okay?
I'm gonna use that.
Dead ass. This guy, I got a few of them for you when we send them to you, man. But on some real note though, like you can connect with. That was something different from her. She was dating niggas, like straight up out the block. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Hello.
Right? And then she I'm a thug, but not now. I'm a thug. Hey, listen, you know what I'm saying? West Side gang. But on the real though, that was she was yearning for. She don't, I think there's girls that they want someone who's strong because they want to know that not just, and I know we talked a lot about like women want people who are like stability and shit. I don't know if that's so much true nowadays, but I know they want someone who has some sense of strength, who's going to stand up when the time comes.
But I think you misunderstanding me. I don't think.
No, then please, yeah.
I don't think like when you with your, like me personally, right? If I have a girl, she gets that. She gets the soft side of me, but there's a point where you have to show that stability, where you have to show that strength. Like if me and my girl are arguing, I'm not yelling at you. I probably will not have a conversation with you if you're that mad. I'll tell you, you know what, you don't seem like you can handle this conversation right now. Just take a second and we'll come back and regroup.
Sure.
But that's over time. I used to scream. I used to do all the extra crazy stuff, pop up at the house. I was emotional, over emotional. So I think, like I'm cool with being like, oh yeah, like baby, I love you, like this, that, and the third. But there comes a time where you have to, understand that being a man means power. Like you have the power, bro. You're a man. I'm not saying you.
I agree with you here. Actually, you know what? I agree with you because I don't. I'll be honest with you, okay? And this is, ladies, listen. Don't come in my DMs like you are exposing us. I'm about to, but don't take it like that.
Go ahead.
I don't think these like 100, 200,000 earning women, 6-figure earning women
are happy.
Are happy with like some like man in the bedroom, like just like limp, just you know what I mean, like just all like I don't. They want like, you know what I mean. If you know what I'm saying. If you make $200,000, $300,000, you want a man who's like, even if it's you make more. Listen, look, dead ass. You don't want no fuck. You don't want that.
No soft. You don't want no soft. That's the switch right there.
You would, but a little bit of you does want that. You know what I mean? But you want to be like, because you're always in control. You want to be out of control when you have situations like that. That's just a thought.
But that's being a man, bro. I keep telling you, as a man, you have the power, bro. Whatever you are comfortable with, and then it comes to choosing your mate too. Whatever you're comfortable with, you do it. If she needs a stern man and you're comfortable with doing that, cool. If she needs you to be soft talking and soft spoken, but still have a certain sense of like control.
So then let's do this. I think then. Let me know if you agree. I think the man brings the highest value is the man is adaptable. What do you think?
That's
the man who's adaptable in all situations and able to provide not only what someone needs but someone wants at that time and instance. Then that's the person who I think is the highest value.
And that's the most fire. But I think we are also programmed to be on a program. So as you say, you would be adaptive. Over time, you might feel like you're losing yourself. I personally would understand this because over time, when I find myself hanging out with different people, always trying to acclimate to my environment,
sure,
I look up and I'm like, who am I? You know what I'm saying? So it can be the same instance in a relationship where you're like, okay, she doesn't like when I do this. I'm going to change this. She doesn't like, well, what about you? What do you like? That's why I say you choose people that you can work with.
Right.
And sometimes it doesn't work out, but that's the reality of life. There's 7 billion people on this planet. Instead of me constantly trying to adapt, why don't I just find the puzzle piece that fits my puzzle?
That's interesting. So, carve yourself out to, like, it's almost like the statue, right? You know, you got to chisel yourself, find the right way, find the person who you want to be, right? And then find someone who can be able to fit your piece.
Complement that.
Yeah, sure. I can see that, right? What do you say about, like, you know, not every piece fits the puzzle, you know?
And that's the reality of life. It's unfortunate. But at the end of the day, are you going to sit there and dwell on that missing puzzle piece, or are you going to go find it?
So I have the next thing on high value.
Okay.
And this is where I think that things get kind of crazy.
Okay.
And I'm curious about you here. Have a vasectomy in your 20s.
I wish what? I want kids. It's like they want you to be alone. Is that what the high value is about?
That's what, when we talk about this puzzle piece, right? You want to connect with someone else, right? I feel like if you're telling someone that they're 20s that they need to have a vasectomy, right? You're essentially telling them that, like, hey, the path to high value means you need to run through a ton of women. You need to. That's how you'll find yourself. It's through intercourse, through women. And I just feel like that's not I don't think that's a good path to go down to find your puzzle piece. Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't, you know, like, it's not that it's not possible. It's just, I feel like that's just not incentivizing the right thing. I don't know if anyone kind of feels what I'm trying to say here, but.
Well, that's facts. I mean, well, you know, I'm a man of God.
Sure.
So I believe that eventually you got to get married. You got to settle down. You have to have one girl. In reality, you're not supposed to be having sex outside of marriage anyway.
Sure.
So when you say having sex with multiple women and running through women, you're essentially giving a piece of yourself to every woman that you meet. And I know, I don't know if Armani talked about this because he told me the same thing, which is like every time you have sex and you ejaculate, photoreceptors.
Take a picture, yep.
Yeah, so imagine you want to find that missing puzzle piece. You're not going to know what the puzzle piece looks like if you're running through every woman. That's why I would say take your time and learn what you like. If you are not going to be able to hold yourself to not having sex, if you're going to have sex, let's limit it. You know what I'm saying? Don't be out here everything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you here. I think that that's crazy for someone to promote a vasectomy, you know? That's crazy. Not only do I think that's just like to tell someone they're 20s, a lot of these 20-year-olds are gullible, you know?
Facts.
They're in positions and situations that, like, they just, like, I remember in my 20s, like, anyone who was, like, rich or had, like, status or money or had anything out your mouth felt like it was, like, coming from God.
Crazy.
But it's just,
I was the same way, but you got to learn how to take it.
No, and you know, over time you start, hopefully, you know, if you have good guidance. Thanks to my dad, he kind of said, hey, you got to look out, you know, because it you know, wolf in sheep's clothing, right? So okay. One of the things I do think that they get right, which is one of the things I find is so weird about this high value kind of red pill ideology here, is that those one thing, like, how do I say it, right? The stake, would, you know, this the main part of the main part of what they sell, right, is good. You want someone who makes money, right? You want to be self-sufficient. You want to have good game. You want to be able to be good with your emotions, have good control over your mentality. Like, these are all good things. But so how do I say it? Like, the symptoms, right? But the prescriptions are crazy.